So let's look at how an exposure session might go. First of all, you construct your fear hierarchies and you plan your exposure. And then you can put those details in on your worksheet to get it started. You also identify your anxious thoughts and predictions, and you write down some alternative perspectives based on your new understanding. Then it's very important that you prepare flashcards. So prepare them specifically for this situation, based on your new understanding and based on your new behavioral skills as well. So that'll remind you exactly what you need to be doing in order for you to face the panic. Remember, the flashcard isn't so that you can avoid the anxiety. It's to help you go through it. Then you begin the exposure, and when anxiety first rises, if it rises, sometimes when you do this, anxiety doesn't arise. So be prepared for that as well. But if it does arise, observe the initial reaction to the anxiety. All right? If you misinterpret, if you catastrophize, this is all about discovering what you do that maintains the cycles of fear. Then observe the impulse to escape and avoid, which is very understandable. It's fight or flight. So that's going to make you want to just leave. Observe that. Then wait. Alright? Change your thoughts. So restructure the misinterpretation and the catastrophization. That'll quickly bring it down. Apply your acceptance behavior skills. So let go towards everything. Feel your feet on the floor. Look around. Relax your stomach. Let it happen. You don't have to stop it. Alright, all those things. This will all be on your flashcard as well. Drop your safety behaviors. So you may initially feel, I need to sit down, whatever. Don't. Just wait. Try to see it through. You can also practice your mindfulness skills. Okay, so look around. Take things in. Observe what's happening in the bigger picture and allow the symptoms to exist as well. Alright, it's the entirety of your experience. You very often just zoom in on the symptoms and then that exaggerates them out of all proportion. So if you take in your surroundings, that makes the symptoms just part of a bigger picture. And obviously if you need to at any point here, use your flashcards. It's not safety behavior, it's a reminder when you're feeling extremely anxious of what you can do. And you're not leaving, you're just reading the flashcard, reminding yourself, okay, try this, try that, remember this, remember that. And then just stay and wait, let it happen until your anxiety drops by half. Okay, and then that's the practice done. And that might take a while. If you're in a shopping centre, the anxiety is continuously being at a high level and you're prepared to be able to wait, it may take 40 minutes. Don't be thinking that it's bound to drop by half in 5 minutes. It can. When you start to practice, you'd be amazed how quickly your anxiety can come down, and you'll get used to this because you're now changing your total attitude towards panic. And attitude is everything. But be prepared that sometimes it can take 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So once it's done, afterwards, then you fill in the rest of your worksheet. It's very important to monitor your progress. And then reward yourself for doing well. And even if you feel you didn't do well, reward yourself because you did it. That's the most important thing. It's not even if you had panic, you went towards it, you tried it, you did worksheets, you put it into practice. It's not going to be completely the way you want it to be every single time. It's all just experimentation. So no matter what happened, it's okay. If you feel it was too much, then back to the drawing board. Just, different fear hierarchy, some smaller steps. That's it. An example of an exposure practice flashcard. So there's 3 things you can put on this alternative perspective, and you can base that on whatever you put in your worksheet. And then you can use acceptance behavior strategies and normalizing statements from workbook number 2. And just use things that are relevant to the situation and that you feel are most helpful for you. So your alternative perspective, at the moment, these will be things that you hope will be the reality, but you may not be totally convinced, and you're going to test these things out. So based on your new understanding about panic disorder and about the fight or flight response, you can write these things down. Panic cannot actually immobilize me. It just feels like that. If I feel anxious and apply my new skills and wait, the panic will pass. Panic attack cannot do me any actual harm. Even if I felt I couldn't move, the worst that would happen is that I would have to sit down somewhere until the anxiety passed. And you can base that possibly on previous experience. So you can see you're going to test these ideas out. So some acceptance behavior strategies may be these are just remind you what to do when you feel the anxiety, at an extreme level. Let go towards the feelings. Let the panic happen. Remember, it's your resistance is sending fear signals to the body, which the body's responding with more fight or flight symptoms. Be mindful of surroundings, okay? Rather than zooming in on the symptoms again, which increases them, be mindful of surroundings. Let the panic continue as it will in the background. Don't give it my full attention. Giving it your full attention is simply increasing the sensations. Wait a bit longer. And remember, you might want to add there, I'm not in any danger even if I don't do any of this. It's just pure fight or flight sensations and symptoms. But doing these things will cut down on the length of time that the cycle of fear lasts. So normalizing statements may be, if I panic, it's okay, it's just panic, just adrenaline. Remember, these statements are to remind you of everything that you've learned, everything you've read. No danger. I have felt that I won't be able to move in the past, but actually I always did. The intensity always passes eventually. That's to remind you that adrenaline just comes in surges, can't last forever. This is a very common experience for lots of people. Just normalizes it for you. Panic is very unpleasant, that's for sure. So you're being honest with yourself, you're being clinical, test pilot mode, but it's actually harmless. You're just reminding yourself what you've learned. This experience is helping me become free of panic. So this is a positive experience right now, no matter how bad I'm feeling. It's in my best interest to practice with this. It's okay to feel anxious. It's not a crime. But this will pass if I give it time. You might also add, if I can't do it, that's okay as well. I'll just start again tomorrow. So whatever you feel suits you in the particular situation to help you go through the panic. Remember, these are not to help you avoid the panic, block it out. These are not safety behaviors. Alright, I know it seems like it could be, but you've got to get a certain amount of strategies that will help you go through the panic so that you can go through it without feeling overwhelmed. Alright, it's a fine line in the middle somewhere.